Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Mina. If you don't know me, I'm an astrologer who loves sharing my knowledge with you guys. It's something I'm passionate about. So if that sounds like something you like, smash subscribe so we can stay connected. I do release weekly videos. And drop me some likes on this video, you guys. I appreciate it in advance. It really spreads the good work I'm doing. Thank you. Alright, so today we're starting a new series. We're going to be talking about Mercury, the planet of communication, and really what it goes on in our brains, how we process information, how we output it, how we connect with others socially. It's all tied up in the planet Mercury, and this is my new series, and I will be discussing 3 signs at a time. So today we're going to discuss Mercury in Aries, Mercury in Taurus, and Mercury in Gemini. So if that pertains to you, please stick around. Alright guys, so Mercury, like I said, is responsible for what goes in our minds and how we output information, how we connect with other people, how we communicate. And how important is that? And keep in mind, Mercury can be 1 sign away from your sun sign. So it can either be in the sign previous, it can be in the sign of your sun sign, or the sign after your sun sign. So it can really heavily modify your sense of communication. And communication, let's just face it, is a big part of how we express ourselves. Mercury really is kind of like our ambassador. It is the mouth of our soul, our sun, and heart, our moon. It is what flows out of us, and it controls what people know about us in some ways. It's so important. And it also is the essence of how we connect with other people in that air element way, cerebrally and even emotionally. Like, it's the heart's mouth, it's the soul's mouth, it's the brain's mouth. It's just the road outside of our bodies. It's so important in this way. So Mercury in Aries, how does a Mercury in Aries person express themselves communication wise? Well, a Mercury and Aries person is going to be very direct in their communication. They are cardinal fire, ruled by Mars, this Mercury, and it's just very energetic. They could be very energetic communicators when they're talking about something they like. And in general, because there is a childlike essence that comes with a lot of Aries placements that can be a little bit selfish, they don't like to talk about things that they don't like to talk about, to the point where they just won't do it. They will talk about things that they are personally energized by, and they will bring some energy to the conversation. They will be very direct. They really wear their mind on their sleeve. There's nothing you need to guess about with a Mercury and Aries person. And this could be good or bad. If they think something negative, they're going to express that negative thought. If they think something positive, they're going to directly express that positive thought. They're just very free-flowing with their communication, and they aren't concerned mostly with how it's perceived by other people. They just need to get it out. And that's so fire of them. Fire is an element that really just needs an exit. It can't contain itself because it will burst like a volcano. So it's just like getting everything out. Mercury in Aries is also a very brave and courageous communicator. They are not afraid to say things in order to stand up for things that they believe in, or to defend other people, because this is like the warrior brain, the warrior Mercury. So they're not scared in that way. Communication wise, they will speak up if they feel that they need to defend something. An individual with a Mercury in Aries is going to be honest to a fault. And when I say fault, I mean it's really refreshing. Like springtime. Aries is tied up with springtime, but it's also something that can really hurt them in real life. They're so direct and straightforward and honest that people can really grab onto that honesty and use it against an Aries Mercury person. So yeah, unfortunately they do wear their mind on their sleeve, and that's like scary a little bit if you think about it. A Mercury and Aries person is going to be very impulsive in communication. Like I said, they're just going to say what they think. It's just going to take a quick exit, and then they're on to the next thought. So it can be a little bit of a quick mind here, like, because they're just passionately running through ideas, and then they just like burn out and need to let their mind rest a little bit until it can energize itself and get on the hamster wheel again. Are they good listeners? If they're interested in a subject, I think they are. If they're energized by a subject, if they feel pulled towards something, yes, they can be great listeners. But if it's just flat, I mean, an Aries Mercury person, their mind is just going to run right past you, and they're going to go find something that brings them that energy and passion they're looking for in terms of exchanging ideas. The same thing when it comes to learning, because Mercury really does have to do with how we learn. They work best when they're learning things that they're passionate about, you know, that they have a big self-interest in. It has to be something that they personally want to mentally conquer, because they are winners. Like, they like to win at things. They like to be number one. So if they want to be number one in a subject, then they're going to vigorously learn that subject. They're going to be great at it. But if they don't want to do it, it's kind of a losing battle with this Aries Mercury. So yeah, their mind can be a little bit impatient because it wants to learn things very quickly. And when it's not achieving that goal, it can be discouraged. So Aries Mercury, don't give up on your academic or special interest pursuits. Like, just recharge and go back at it, because you're built to win. Your mind wants to win, so let it win. If you're trying to pique a Mercury and Aries interest, if you're trying to talk with them about something and get them interested in the conversation, bring some newness to the subject. Their minds are gravitated towards anything new and fresh, so freshen it up, make it sound new and fresh, and they might be willing to give you their ear and their full attention in that way. All right, remember, Mercury could be one sign away from your sun sign. So if you are a Aries Mercury, but you have a Pisces sun, you can be a more direct communicator than a typical Pisces sun would feel comfortable doing. Likewise, if you are a Taurus sun with an Aries Mercury, you could maybe not take as long to react and process things like a Taurus sun would prefer to do, because Taurus energy is a little bit slower. So Aries Mercury can really add some quickness to the mind of a Pisces sun or Taurus sun individual. And of course, if you're an Aries sun and Aries Mercury, then your mind's just on fire and your ego is just ready to run with it. All right, you guys, Mercury in Taurus. I really love Mercury in Taurus. It's a beautiful mind here. We have fixed Earth ruled by Venus, so we've left the Martian energy behind. We have a Venus brain here, and Venusian communicator, but through the element Earth and fixed modality. So very, very stubborn ideas here in the minds of Mercury and Taurus people. And really, when they're processing information, when they're listening to you, they're good listeners, but they take their time with the information. It's almost like they enter a state of meditation. They want to take their time to sort out everything they've heard and really, really cement what they think about what they heard. So be careful when you ask a Mercury and Taurus person's opinion. I mean, much like Mercury and Aries, you're going to get what they actually think, but with Mercury and Taurus, it's like you're going to get that, but you're going to know that this person has sat with these ideas and has thought about it, you know, pretty thoroughly. So what they say, they've taken time to process, and they actually mean it, because this is a stubborn brain here. So it's going to be a pretty heavy dose of truth, and that could be really profound or really hurtful to hear. So be careful what you ask these people. They're going to tell you the truth, and it's going to be a carefully thought out truth. And yeah. So yeah, they like to sit with ideas. They're not as quick as Mercury and Aries. This brain prefers to take its time. While Mercury and Aries can kind of be mentally stimulated by chaotic things happening around them, like they can feel energized off of that, a Mercury and Taurus person is going to feel very overwhelmed with too much chaos around them. Like, listening to a million mouths yapping, it can be really overstimulating for them, and they will just shut off. They're not going to listen to that. So they do better. They're better listeners when they're just listening to one or two people at a time, and to people who aren't very obnoxious when they're talking. You know, remember, Venus is at play here. So yeah, they prefer a more peaceful environment when it comes to listening to people, because they really are amazing listeners. They take in everything that you're saying, and like I said, they sit with it in that meditative state. And they are very stubborn. You know, Venus here is about values, and think of Earth. Earth is, you know, it takes like an earthquake to make the Earth move. It's very unmoving in some ways, unless something really big and dramatic happens. So when a Taurus Mercury thinks something, they're going to think that thing for a while. They really do grab on to these values and, you know, ideas attached to their values. So let's translate that to how they communicate. So they really are beautiful. I think they have beautiful voices, and they're such a calming voice and tone. But, you know, they are more on the silent type. They're not very talkative, but when they do say something, it's very well thought out and profound. And yeah, like the little Buddhas. I really love Taurus Mercury people. And I do feel like, you know, they like what they like. I mean, whatever makes their mind feel harmonious is something that they're going to want a lot of. And they're kind of a mind that's resistant to new ideas. And, you know, if you're trying to convince a Mercury in Taurus something, you have to stay consistent and understand that it might take a minute. You have to be very dedicated to that. So yeah, when they're learning something, if they want to learn it, because this is a stubborn mind here, they will fully immerse themselves in that meditative state in order to learn it. They will sit with the concepts and ideas, and they will make sure they know it really rock solid. So I love that about them. And let's talk about what it could do to a chart in terms of sun signs. So if you are a Gemini sun with a Taurus Mercury, I think this is amazing, because Gemini suns can have a very erratic mental energy going on. So Mercury is a ruler of Gemini, so a Mercury in Taurus can really slow down a Gemini sun in a good way. So they can really make sense of all the quick mental things happening in their mind. And I think it's a great combination. So they can really take all that Gemini electric brilliance and sit with it and understand it in a very calm way, and, you know, kind of harmonize their mind a little bit, which a Gemini sun really does need to mentally recharge, because they could get really mentally overwhelmed. They have a very highly active mind. Oh, and I forgot, a Aries sun with a Taurus Mercury, again, very good, because it can slow down that impulsivity that a Mercury and Aries person can have. So again, the slowness of this Mercury is a blessing when it comes to it being attached to someone with an Aries sun or a Gemini sun. So I think it's an amazing combination. And if you're a Taurus sun with a Taurus Mercury, then, you know, you're really in sync with yourself. Your ego and your Mercury are on the same page. You're in that meditative state, and you're at a high level of peace, so good for you. All right, we'll end off on Gemini Mercury, an extremely, like, really strong Mercury placement. I don't know if there's a stronger one, because, as I said previous, Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. So it's like Mercury is in its element. It's at home here, mutable air. It is like having its air tentacles and everything it wants, and it's very quick and it's flexible, a very flexible mind here. So a mind that's really capable of adapting socially and intellectually to several environments, a mind that is okay with a lot of stimulus, even if it can get kind of overwhelmed sometimes, a mind that's very quick at learning and understanding things, and might not have patience for others who can't be as quick as them. And also extremely funny, like very witty Mercury here, and very charming communicators, almost to a psychic level, like any Gemini placement, but especially Gemini Mercury. Like Mercury can really understand what you want to hear. Like I said, they're very socially adaptive here, and very socially intelligent, very witty, and they can just really be that chameleon and like intellectually melt with their environments. And they're very curious people here, an insatiable mind. So they can just go to many destinations mentally at the same time, almost like they just cannot get enough sometimes. They love to learn, they love to listen to conversations, they love to talk to people. It's a very sociable Mercury here, very highly intelligent. So they could be just very interesting communicators, because they know so many little bits of information, and they have really good mental instincts, intellectual instincts, and they remember. They're always like listening, like they're always listening, you guys. Like I say this with every Gemini placement, but especially Gemini Mercury, they're always listening to everything that's going on. They're absorbing all that data hardcore. And yeah, it's a blessed Mercury, because they really can learn anything, which is kind of hard for them, because it's hard for them to choose what they really want to get good at, because they can just learn about anything. But I will say, if they, kind of like Aries Mercury, if they're not getting something quickly because they're so used to learning so quick, they can get really frustrated and move on to the next thing. So I would push you, Mercury and Gemini. You are the brilliant minds here of the zodiac. stay with a subject because your brain is on fire and just so flexible and able to learn pretty much anything. So see what happens when you stick with a subject. You might be surprised. So are they good listeners? I mean, if you can capture their interest, yes, a Gemini Mercury will be a good listener. But if they think you're boring or they're just not into what you're talking about, I mean, they will fly away from you and find the next interesting conversation. It's just that their mind is so hungry that if you're not feeding their mind in the way that they want, they will just go away. I mean, I can't describe it any other way. The sheer electric curiosity of a brain with Gemini Mercury is the essence of its beauty. Like, it's endlessly curious. They're the twins, so it will crawl around any subject with an immense amount of curiosity and will find all these nooks and crannies of a subject that are very interesting and can just really learn something really well. And they're just very confident communicators. I want to say that because Mercury's at home here. So they're just so natural at speaking and telling you what's in here, what's up here, you know, their ego, sun ambitions. Like, they're just very comfortable in that element, which I think is so admirable. So what can a Gemini Mercury do to a chart sun sign wise? Well, if you are a Taurus sun and you have a Gemini Mercury, I mean, it's good because you're not as mentally stubborn as a Taurus is typically, but it could also destabilize all the stability and harmony that your Taurus sun is actually wanting for your life. So I think this could be a blessing or a curse here, if I'm being honest. But yeah, it can add an intellect. It can add an intellectual quickness to any sun sign and make you a really quick learner. But with that Taurus sun, you know, it wants to be steady and stable. And Gemini Mercury, like I said, if it feels frustrated intellectually, it will fly away to the next subject. So yeah, very destabilizing effect, even though it can make a Taurus sun very brilliant. Cancer sun with a Gemini Mercury, well, it can take, you know, a very emotional and intuitive ego and give it some air, cool it off a little bit, give it a logical lens in the brain. So I think this is actually really good for a Cancer sun, because as a Cancer sun, it is very easy to get immersed and caught up in your feelings and get heated in that way. And I think a Gemini Mercury here can really take the edge off in a good way. And again, it can really make a chart more intellectual and just capable of learning so much, which I think is really good for a Cancer sun. Cancer sun with a Gemini Mercury is also a very unique combination because it is like pairing intuition and intellect. As a Cancer sun, you are growing into a strong intuition each day you are alive, because our sun sign is something that we get more comfortable with as we get older, and we embody that energy stronger as we get older, because there is some curation that has to happen with that ego. And when you have a Gemini Mercury with a Cancer sun, you're already building towards a strong intuition. You're cultivating that emotional intelligence as you age. And if you have a Gemini Mercury, that is like giving you a very confident mind, a very confident speaking voice. And yes, that's I mean, think about it. The worlds of intuition and classic logic coming together, and that quickness from Gemini can make a very powerful person here. Someone who has a very strong intuition and a very strong, flexible mind, thanks to the Gemini Mercury. And yeah, with a Cancer sun, I want to say, you know, like I said earlier, Gemini Mercury has confidence in communicating. So Cancer suns can sometimes struggle with confidence in terms of airy things such as speaking, because they are so emotional and emotive people, which is beautiful about them. So if they have a Gemini Mercury, that can be something really awesome for them. It can give them that boost of confidence when they are communicating, and it can make them sound more logical than they typically are when they're just embodying their sun energy. Of course, if you're a Gemini sun and a Gemini Mercury, then you are just on, your brain's on fire. I mean, like going off into any destination, a highly adaptive, intelligent creature here. Just try to stick with something, like I said, and see where it takes you. I want to say before I end my video that this is a pure energy reading, you guys. So, of course, aspects from other planets, house placement comes into play here. But I do think that it's important to understand the pure energies in our chart, because they're always something that we can dig out of ourselves and work towards embodying. So It's an inspirational thing. You guys, I hope you liked the video today. I'm really excited to work my way through the Mercuries, and yes, let me know your experience with Aries Mercury, Taurus Mercury, and Gemini Mercury. I would love to know. Leave them in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!